How you guys doing today? I'm Davin Brown.
Ryan Mitchell.
And this is Aimintentreason.
Yeah.
This channel is aimed to sit down with up-and-coming entrepreneurs and see exactly what does it take to get into the mindset necessary to succeed. And we're excited to see what they have to offer us.
So in this first episode, we have Norb Seufert. So it's a funny story with Norb. He was my prior business instructor, and we've always had a good time talking about entrepreneurship, having a good time, what it takes, what it doesn't take, some of his trials. And I'm like, man, he's perfect. So let me give you a little intro. He's the CMO of an Athelytix sport technology firm, and prior to becoming a full-time entrepreneur, which, man, you got to have a part-time gig, sometimes got to fund it. He was a 25-year veteran in the marketing industry in New York. Came here to Cali to pursue his dream. So here it is. Athelytix has been named one of the top innovative companies in San Diego in 2017. So I want to hear what he has to say. I cannot wait for this.
Let's get into it.
Let's go right in. So give us just a span of your last 30 years in entrepreneurship.
Was an advertising guy in New York for about 20 plus years. Came here to California, did that for another 10, and then I got my first taste of entrepreneurship when one of my clients was going to go off and start his own business. We were going to import beverages from Spain, and he said, "Do you want to be my marketing director?" So marketing director in that context turned out to be a whole lot more than that. It was anything and everything we needed to do. And the fact is, entrepreneurs are going to wear lots and lots of hats. You need to know finance, you need to know marketing, you need to know sales, you need to know operations, you need to pretty much figure everything out. And you don't typically have a staff of 7 specialists who are doing each little piece. Right. You are doing everything that needs to get done. So that was my first taste of entrepreneurship, and that lasted about 2.5 years. And it was a structured business. It wasn't pure entrepreneurship because we were bringing existing products and we're just selling in the United States. But nevertheless, it was kind of our own business to do what I was pleased. That really turned me on. Then in about 2010 at this point, I became introduced to a local aerospace engineer who was a former baseball player who had gotten as high as AA ball and never quite made it to the bigs. That clearly never got out of the system because he saw fit to marry those two disciplines of baseball and his love of aerospace engineering. And he said, I want to develop a system that will provide very precise analytics, so much so that you can train a person from using it, because lasers are very precise, much more than infrared, much more than radar, which is currently being used. So they said, listen, kid, you've got a great slider, we just can't tell you why. So he set out to develop a system that would help explain why. And so our system is laser-based. We use it for baseball now, but it can apply to any sport whose speed or movement is a value to measure. So I saw this system and I said, from a marketing standpoint, from being an athlete in the past, I said, I can see the value of this. And only StatCast wasn't even really in place yet, but you start to see analytics taking a bigger place in sports. And I thought, well, this is tremendous because there's training applications, and there's also entertainment applications. People start playing video games. Now we can kind of take this physical thing into the virtual world, right? And so it just seemed like a terrific opportunity. Then I got exposed to people seeing it, like real baseball players going through this thing going, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So then I started investing money, investing more time, and then I kind of went full time into this as a place to display it. But remember, this is now going back 6 years at this point where I went full time at it. We're still going. Last summer, we were fortunate enough to get a patent. Okay. So I encourage everybody to protect your either technical expertise or your property, however you can. The patent happens to be a great one. Right. And that also shows potential investors that this is an idea worth patenting, and these guys had the wherewithal to execute on a system that the government saw fit to patent. Right. So that was a big boost, but you need those little milestones along the way to keep you going. So early on it was a major league player sees this and goes, that's the greatest thing ever. Later it was, hey, I think this is patentable. Later it was somebody saying, why just baseball? Let's patent it for every sport. So, and then investors coming in and people like you who said, I want to be involved in whatever capacity I can. So there's always little things, all these little milestones along the way. Because believe me, you go through a lot of, am I crazy? why am I doing this? Am I putting my family at risk? Are you out of your mind? But then you get these little markers along the way that help you say, okay, I'm not crazy. These smart people believe in it. These people, this professional athlete thinks it's great. And later on, the U.S. government or the patent office thinks, or warrant, justified and gave us a patent.
Okay, so you came here 9 to 5 and it took your love and passion and kind of how everything just got together with your partner. He had a love and a passion and moved on. You say, well, there's a need, especially a future need.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But it has to be a current, and you can see the future need, because if there's no need, Steve Jobs didn't know we needed iPods or whatever, so he kind of saw a future need. For most people, you have to have some context where you have to understand why that would work, and then you realize as technology moves forward, this isn't a good space for that. But if there was very much a need for athletes to get better, for minor leaguers to get to the major leagues, for high school guys to get into a college program. So you're always improving. Your son is trying to improve on the football field, right? So nobody's ever complete, and they're always trying to get better. So people can go, okay, that's a problem. And I think in our case, we were very accessible. People understood baseball. They understood what we're trying to do. It's not like here's a new wind turbine or something esoteric that you really can't understand and grasp. But hey, now when I can say, we are StatCast for the amateur. Like if you watch any baseball, StatCast has changed the way, now we're looking at launch angle, we're looking at distance, we're looking at exit speed off the bat. We provide that, albeit in a practice capacity.
When did you get to that point where you're like, man, I have an idea, I have a vision, and then every time you're like, well, I need this license, I need this, I have to call, if this costs this much, or wait, I thought we were going here.
I'll let you know when I come out of it, because it's a constant. There's always, I don't mean to, cast any shadow on this, but it's not an easy process, and there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. There's a lot of good ideas out there, but then you have to be able to execute on your idea, protect your idea, put the right team in place, get the funding to get it. So it's a constant struggle, and I bet you when we're funded and we're up and running, we'll have a whole new set of struggles.
Right.
But you better love what you're doing or believe in your mission, and the more you can state your mission, that's how you get great people. If we're gonna feed the poor, or if we're gonna give water to underprivileged areas or something, that's something people can get behind, and they can bring a real passion to it. If you say bring the next shoelace, maybe not.
So you have a passion for what you're doing?
I have a passion for what I'm doing. I love baseball, I love sports, but I love the idea of helping people too to get to that next level. And I've seen firsthand when people use the system, the response to it. And let's face it, I think there's potentially a great deal of money in it. So that too is a motivator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not just doing this for the good of the community.
Yeah, it's good, but hey, you got to take it.
It's good, but if it works, it's gonna hopefully serve us well financially.
Right, absolutely. So you with this all the technology and stuff, how do you fund? Because it sounds like it's expensive. You got lasers, I hear lasers and this and that. The funding, like where are
we started? We don't mind. I put some money in myself,
okay,
and because of it, I own the majority of the shares in the company.
Okay.
The people who developed it own some shares, but then we went out to what's called friends and family, and grabbed 5,000 and 10,000 here and there, and ultimately raised about 300, both personally and with other infusions of capital.
Okay.
But now we have to go to the next level and raise about $1 million because we need to take it to market. So then you need a sales force, you need a facility, you need to manufacture the pieces. You need people, but you also need the physical structure, which is not simple by, and we need to hire a manufacturing partner to do all those things. But with that funding comes a lot of, you want to get funded by the right people too. Right? You don't want somebody who's just money. Hopefully he's connections, hopefully he's believes in the mission, can reach out to other people in the community and in the sports world. So it's how good is the quality of the money coming in. If this is just some vague investor, and it's important to know that investors, once your corporation, need to be accredited investors, which means they have, they earn more than $100,000 a year. They have a net worth of more than $2 million without their house involved. Because the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, protects people from scammers who would just like give me money on a large scale.
Right.
And so they try to protect to say, okay, an accredited investor qualifies as someone who can give this money. You can provide him with shares in a very legal. Like otherwise, there'd be so much nonsense going on. It's not fun. It's unfortunate that because there's people that I've encountered who want to invest, but right now we're only doing it in bigger lots, and so
keep you safe.
the government tries to protect you by saying you're an accredited investor.
So 300,000, right?
Yeah.
300,000. What have you gained a cent yet, Matt?
Nope.
Not one.
No.
Wow. It has been
8 years.
8 years.
Overnight sensation.
They say
That's why you have to have the passion. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. You better have a good idea and the passion to see it through.
And some of these people I heard, like you say, your family, friends, your nickel and dimes, and were they expecting their money back at that time?
Look, everybody who gives me $5,000 expects money back. Yeah, they don't give it to me because they like my face. They like my idea, and hopefully they have some faith that I can, between me and my partner and the group and the broader group, make this happen. But they too saw the technology. Their kids were using it, and they said, well, they could have something here. So this is worth a $5,000 flyer. These people, this isn't their last $5,000.
Okay.
But mine is an expensive proposition,
yeah, it is.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm writing software, that doesn't really cost anybody anything. If you have a great idea and you can write some software, if you are creative and you can, come up with great T-shirt designs or something, that too could be something. But if you're manufacturing a thing, then the money's going to start to, maybe you've got a great script or something that could go. Those people are entrepreneurs in their own right too. They have to sell this thing, which then gets produced and whatever else. But so there's ways around it. But in our case, it happens to be sort of a capital-intensive proposition.
Okay. Staying on the money, what do you see the earning potential in?
Probably in the first year, lose about 500,000.
Okay.
Then in year 2, we're at 1.3 until year 5, where the revenues are at $40 million. That doesn't mean we're taking home 40 by any stretch. Yeah, that's gross revenues, of which there's probably a few $1 million in profit in there. I don't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, if we're rolling like that, and then you hope, you can either continue to run the business, depending on whether you have a life on the side or how much you love it or how much it's making you crazy. But I think both of my partner and I, my partner's 62, I'm 56.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to offer us some money along the way, we'll probably say, here you go.
Are you tired?
I'm tired, but listen, that next phase when we're rolling and going and we're seeing our stuff in the world, I might get completely jacked up and go, nobody's getting nobody can touch this. Is my baby, and I'm going to go on the road with it. I hope that's the case because I'm passionate about it. I'd love to continue that.
I want to see it. It's your baby.
It's my baby, yeah. And when the time comes to scale to beyond what we can legitimately do, then I'm more than happy to sell it. I say now I'm hoping to play some kind of role in it, but if we sell, they own it then. The entrepreneur has to understand that this is not going to be free. Not in time, not in money.
A lot of people think that, don't they? We all think that at some point. I guarantee when you guys came up with this, when it first popped in your head, it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna be okay with losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to make $1 million,
no.
$2 million. I guarantee
nobody's okay with it.
Nobody says that.
Nobody's okay with it, but investors want to see that your commitment to it. So they're happy to know that I've got skin in the game, time in the game, and commitment to it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing I can tell you all day. I'm committed, but when I put 8 years of my life and $100,000 in personally, I'm committed.
I think that speaks loudly.
That speaks loudly. That's real. I could talk all day long about how I, think it's great, but I put my own scratch in and my own time in. So I'm in.
I love that. And I think that's a key characteristic that you have to be willing to, hey, whatever it takes.
Look, and your family has to be willing.
That transition right. So you have how many? Yeah,
2 kids and a wife.
2 kids and a wife. How old?
A dog, 2 cats, and 2 fish.
Oh wow!
And the fish are not having any part of this. They've never said one word about how they're supporting. No, so they've been great about it. My wife has had times where it's like, are you on crack? Is enough of this nonsense? But she too saw milestones and saw my commitment and saw a patent. Maybe there's some there.
Okay.
This group took you up. Oh, you spoke at TED Talks. Like,
Oh,
you
did
know,
you?
well, we had a TEDx Innovation Alley. We were selected among
That's still
the most innovative products in San Diego last year.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, so those are things where you go, I'm not insane. You know, there were 150 applicants, 17 made it, we were one of them. Okay, I think there's some
value.
wind beneath our wings.
So let's just take away those little wins, or let's call them little victories, little wins. How would your relationship with your wife? How long you guys been married?
20 years.
20 years. Okay, relationship with your wife. And so she's been on this ride from New York to Cali.
Yep.
Okay. So here it is. What's your wife?
It was an easy ride early on. You know, I was making good money in Cali, and hey, it's Cali. You know, not that New York was so terrible or anything, and she loved New York. But that was easy when you stop bringing in any revenue, then it starts getting a little.
So let's talk about at that point. And she says, "Hey, I know she's your wife, so obviously she supports you to the death." But it had to be at some point where she's like, "Hey."
There's been more than one point.
Well, let's talk about the first one.
The first was like, is this real? What are you doing? What do you expect to have come from this? And I would have to share with her the documents about what we're taking to investors, because if it smelled like crap to her,
right,
you know, she's going to project. And like she said, on occasion, you need to go get a job. And on occasions, I have gone out and got a job and then done a little stuff. So as much to bring in revenue as to appease her as to just keep the peace.
And you had a mouth to feed, with two kids, a whole bunch of dogs, and those fish, and a bird.
Those fish don't eat that much stuff.
They're good to go.
You can give $7 to go feed a fish for a year.
Oh man, that's an investment.
You need some fish. It costs me more money to fill their tank than
that's an investment to have. So let's get into the relationship. What about your kids? How did they? Because from what I know, the entrepreneur world, everybody thinks, hey, I want to buy my time. I want more freedom. But the fact of the matter is,
no, you may get that after exit, but you get less freedom. The reality is very different.
Okay.
So with my kids, it's not like we had to move houses or they had to change schools,
right,
or like, you know, daddy drives a cab all night and you never see him anymore. So the world didn't change all that much.
Okay.
And we tried, you know, my wife and I tried not to do any kind of financial battles in front of them, but she expressed her concern and opinion on a number of occasions. And I said, listen, here's how we're going to navigate this, and here's how we're going to navigate this. And I'm a little fortunate. I had some parents who had a little bit of money to help support the lean parts. But yeah, I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs, and some of them made it out, and some, you know, but everybody experienced those. I haven't heard a story yet where, you know, I had an idea one night. 2 weeks later, I'm opening up a new bank account because I needed it. One bank couldn't accept all my money. It doesn't play that way. So, you know, you need to be passionate. You need to believe in your thing. And you need to be good at what you do. And you need to understand what other people are good at.
Right.
You know, and know when you need help and be able to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and don't be proud. You know what I mean? And you need to also be really good to everybody you ever spoke to and make a note of that. And because you never know who's going to come back around or what contact knows what contact. So it's a never-ending kind of cycle. And I wonder if I've ever turned it off in 8 years. Like, I can go on vacation not thinking about it, but if somebody starts talking a little bit of sports, I might just interject, hey, well, it just so happens I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah, because you never know who's going to. And listen, we got to the point with investor groups where somebody goes, this is fascinating, fabulous, I love your deck, I love you guys, we think the money's coming tomorrow, and then they disappear. You know, so
yeah, that's part of.
You just have to have a thick skin about it, for sure. And you know, look, my wife's had her doubts, but I've had mine plenty of times.
Right. So you had your own doubts about your own.
Absolutely,
business.
You get discouraged. Somebody, like I said, you see this great investor who's all hopped up on something. You never hear another word. You just gotta, you know, you're gonna have to talk to 100 people before you get one to invest.
Okay, so I want to talk now. Let's get into some of these roadblocks that you've had. So, and before we go there, so you're saying a lot of the part of being an entrepreneur is never staying always in that humble state because you never know who you might need, especially in an entrepreneurial world where you have to build your environment, you have to build your community
From nothing.
your support, your pretty much a whole new life off of a passion. Because everybody, you don't wake up with a passion and everybody's like, yeah. You have to almost.
But you know what? I think the same is true for singers or for athletes or for whomever, where it's not just you get plucked out of thing, you're great, blah, blah. It's a long grind. So people don't get paid. There's not a lot of luck in this game, right? You know, like, I don't think Madonna's lucky. You know,
Right.
She said I remember seeing her on American Bandstand, which is, you don't even know because you're not even old enough.
I really don't.
She's like, I want to rule the world.
I know.
She said right then and there, I want to rule the world. She had that drive. Nothing was going to get in her way.
Right.
She didn't have the most talent. She's not the best singer. You think we talked about this in class. McDonald's isn't the best hamburger.
Right.
It's not always the best rise to the top, but it's a little bit of luck, a lot of passion, hopefully, but it's always hard work.
Always.
And it's dedication to it. So you better believe in what you're doing.
Right.
And then, you know what? You've heard this notion of pivot. We may end up being a golf product. Right now, we've been all about baseball. Somebody may go, well, a second, I'll buy that for my golf driving range. All of a sudden, we're pivoting that. You have to be flexible. You can't say, this is the way it is, that's going to go, because investors are going to come, they're going to have their own ideas about something.
Right.
So you have, and a lot of those ideas, look, these people made some money, they probably have some good ideas, so at least be open to that notion.
Be open to a whole bunch of different.
You want to be stubborn about it, and prideful, and let nobody tell you anything, or put insight. You're probably going to be pretty lonely in that pursuit.
So you have a love for baseball.
I have a love for baseball.
Who's your favorite team?
New York Mets, and I'm willing to admit that on tape. It's July 2018. I'm saying it here and now.
So you obstacle after obstacle after obstacle.
Look, that maybe being a Met fan has taught me to overcome obstacles and be able to face adversity.
So that's the secret. That's what you said, the secret of being a Mets fan?
Yes, America.
Be a Mets fan.
If you're into pain, if you're a masochist, be a Mets fan. It's good life.
So loving the like the athlete's mindset, because I always told you I love people that made it, but I always look at you got the Super Bowl, you got the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about where did you start? And one of my favorite is Jerry Rice and Ray Lewis, Michael and Kobe. And I always look at one thing, like all the top athletes, all the top business professionals, not the ones that got it inherited, but I'm talking the people that we look at the most. They have one thing: they last. They last, and they're in love with the work. Like they're always at practice early. They're always staying late. They're always doing their bodies a different way. Like speaking of LeBron, he's lasted this long, and he's dominated the game while he's there. And it doesn't just come from, he's 6'8", he's a monster, 265, can run like the wind, can shoot when he wants. Like that's there. But it's not. It wasn't born. He wasn't just DNA. I can do this.
And
this
you know
is
what?
work.
And he gets so much more satisfaction.
Yeah.
Because it came from work. They didn't just like, I'm a natural athlete. This just comes easy to me. But no, it's that work, because he can look back with pride at everything he's done. And listen, it's the work. I'm trying to instill that in my kids.
Right.
It's like the work itself is going to make. You can inherit a lot of money. It's not as much fun as that guy who worked for it.
So we always, another cliche, you love the process.
I hate the process, but I'm gonna. No, it can be. Look, for me, it's hard. I'm someone who's done well in my career, not necessarily managing. Like somebody would come to me and they want an idea, and I develop that idea. But I'm almost better. Tell me what to do, and I'll kill it.
Right.
But if you have to imagine what to do, you have to come up with what to do, and then kill it too. I just want to be told what to do and then go do it. Right? But I had to walk outside my comfort zone and say we need to do X, Y, and Z, or else I can have a company that's a name on a sheet and nothing more. So you have to grow outside your comfort zone. I've had to do that as an entrepreneur, and I've grown as a person doing it.
A lot of growth.
Yeah. So there's a few people who are great singers, might be blessed with some crazy talent, but it's rare. You know,
Very rare.
they're saying 10,000 hours gives you
Outliers.
gives you mastery of something.
Like the
and
Beatles
it's-
story. Have you heard the Beatles story?
Yes, got rejected by everybody.
I love that story.
Yes,
I
the
love
Beatles
that.
got rejected by everybody.
The Beatles,
Yeah.
the one of the
Yeah.
the world's largest and greatest known bands, got rejected.
That's not the only story like that. Stephen King's wife dragged his last book out of the garbage saying, "You can't give up now." He had done it. He was done. He got another rejection. He's like, "Here's the manuscript. It's going in the trash." She pulled it out, and the rest is history. So the world is littered. These success stories are littered with people
Right.
who failed, or kept going. They just kept going.
Have you
And
found
this-
one yet? That didn't?
me?
No, I'm talking about have you found a successful anybody that didn't have the
That
work?
just fell backwards
They just
into
was
it.
like, I'm just this.
And you know what? I'm sure those exist. It's the exception rather than the rule. But I guarantee you, they're not getting the satisfaction of the person who grinded it out for 8, 9, 6, 5 years,
However
whatever,
long it takes.
however long it takes.
We
You
was
know how happy I'm going to be when this thing comes?
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to smoke a cigar that big. I don't even smoke cigars. And they're like, I made this, I did this, I earned this.
because it just it's a that's when you take that pride. You're like, this is what I've created. This is a creation.
Yes, and listen, even before that, when somebody used the system or some athlete came and saw the system, I bubbled over with enthusiasm and excitement and all that
That's what I
stuff.
said. That's the addiction.
Yeah.
I think at some point you have to be addicted to some portion of this lifestyle. And it's not in so much the money. It's not so much the fame, however big you want to be, but it has to be an addiction to something that's created.
Yeah, and either you believe in your mission,
Right.
or you believe in what it can do for other people,
Right.
or you believe that it's going to make boatloads of money, or you believe that it's going to serve your kids well, or something. But yeah, all those things factor into keeping you going.
Have you ever wanted to quit?
Yes, more than once, more than 5 times. But like I started to explain, for me and there's different fundamental psychological things that drive people. It's fear, whatever. With me, it's I can't stand waste. I grew up in a family that could not stand waste. So now the notion of I think I've wasted 6, 8 years of my life and $100,000+ does not sit well with me at all. So I'm going to see it through because I want to be able to say at the end of the day, I left nothing on the table. I tried really hard. And I'll be okay with that if that time comes. Not great. Not as great as, hey, I sold it to Mizuno or Spalding or whatever else, and now our system is helping kids all around the country. But I can't sleep if I didn't try
Would you
and take it to the full.
Would you be able to sleep if you settle on a deal and you see it go for $300, $400, $500 million? Would you able to?
That'll make me crazy.
Yeah.
I'll go bananas. But listen, if I got paid $2 million and it's a success, then I'm gonna have to think I'll be pretty happy. You can't do. You're gonna set yourself up for crazy.
So you're telling me
do that
it's gonna be okay, but if somebody says I need $2 million for your whole project, and then you see it 2 months later that it's sold for $500 million
that'll make me crazy.
to the Mets.
Look, but here's another thing. The Mets are struggling, right? I'm thinking of going directly to the Mets and going, I'll give you an exclusive, we can help your pitchers, right? Because that might be a great story. Like, what became of the Mets? All of a sudden, they had an ERA of 4, now it's 3. What changed? Oh, we're using this system, and I helped my team do that. So, yeah, again, it's not all about the money. If it succeeds, I have succeeded. All this time and effort and energy has been put towards something that came to fruition. That will be huge satisfaction in itself. I'm a kind of a simple man. Like, I don't need crazy, I'm comfortable now. It's easy for me to say I don't need the biggest, the best, but everybody's different. And listen, some of those people who are really money hungry, they're the ones who are really killing it because they got to, that's what drives them. And they're doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, and they go because they're, whatever drives you, roll with that.
So let's switch gears a little bit because I want to get into like some monumental struggles that you've had since you started that pretty much put you on the brink of, like, I'm not talking about the one like the little failures that you might say, oh man, that hurt, like a little sting. I'm talking about those punches in the gut that just make that a heart wrenching. Like you're like, I hate my life. This sucks.
We lost our facility.
Oh, okay.
We ran a batting cage that was we got into to showcase and develop the system, and we were losing $2-3 grand every month. So we had to. Luckily, we had somebody step in, but I had to strip that business completely apart. I had to pull out, 500 yards of turf with heavy buttons on it. I was pulling this my business.
500 yards of turf.
Yes, we had turf throughout the whole building. And
That's heavy too, huh?
What's that?
That's super heavy.
Super heavy with these rubber pellets on to keep it in place. And meanwhile, I'm pulling my business apart. So my dream, I'm sweating and bursting at the seams and physically mental, and I'm pulling this stuff apart for the benefit of my failing business. So that was a real tough pill to swallow. Well, then we went to a local batting cage and saying, listen, can we put this in? It's going to be great. You're going to be able to charge more. You're going to be the only game in town that's got this next generation technology. Well, we put it in, and then it was like 8-10 months before we got it all working, because to move it was really complicated. And then people, so they've been very patient with us, but we've been lucky there. But the big hurdle was, man, my business failed. Not that business, but the sub business, and we have to try again and reinvent ourselves. So now it's a better system because our system is ready for showcasing and development, and I don't have to pay any rent to do it.
So hold on, I want to stay right there. So out of that failure of pulling
another opportunity,
it gave you another. You learned.
Close one window, open another door.
So what's another heartbreaking roadblock that I don't want to touch this, and just where it becomes disgusting to the taste?
Well, the new people when they got impatient, they wanted to pull it out and wanted us to pay to pull it out. So we had to, soft talk them and convince them that this is, please see the longer picture and give up some allowances to them. It's like, okay, we'll share revenue with you, but a little greater than we thought we might have to. The time when your wife said, go get a job or do this, you have to be prepared to kind of roll with the punches. And there were times I had to borrow money from my parents just to make the rent.
And this is as a grown man with
kids. Grown man with kids. That's not a great, So, but I hear the story over and over again. And that's what makes victory that was so satisfying, because you went through, That's why the artists or whatever who fought, and those minor league players who fought forever to get there, tastes a lot sweeter than that. There was a guy in the All-Star game last night, Max Muncy for the Dodgers, who didn't have a job, 8 months ago.
I love those stories.
Yeah,
I love those.
He got dropped by the A's, and now he's killing it. And they say the Dodgers wouldn't be in the position they're in without Max Muncy. For me, the hardest part of entrepreneurship is no structure. So you're never on and you're never off. Like, I never have to work, but I'm kind of never not working all the same. I could be sitting at the beach I could be thinking this through, or developing that website, or rethinking this. So it's not like the bell rings, you go home, you're done, pick. You're an entrepreneur 24 hours a day, right? But I can always pick up and take my kids to the beach if I want to. It might cost me mentally, because I'm like thinking, what should I be doing now? And I'm nervous because I'm not pushing this process forward. So it's a little weird that way. And there's people who say you should get dressed up and go to your office in your home. So I can't work out of the house, I found. My dog is sitting there dropping balls in front of me. The kids want something. Hey, the refrigerator has Kit Kats in it. So my habit is I go to the library, I structure my time, and I go, I'm not moving for 3 hours from now. I'm going to put this time in, because that is, you think that's sexy. Like, my time is my own. I'm an entrepreneur. No. It's like you're always guilty when you're not working, but you have the freedom to go pick up your kids at school or do stuff like that. But then you get burdened with other stuff that, hey, you're not my wife's at the job, so I can't go pick up the kids, so that's on you again. So
you got to be dad too. You got to be husband.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. Where did that, because that wasn't your thought process when you was 9 to 5 in New York, when you came to Cali, because when she was off, you were off.
Right.
When did you develop that? Wait. I have to discipline myself not to sleep in. I have to discipline myself to actually be productive.
Still a work in progress. But I've learned that the library is a good space, and I learned how I work, right?
Right.
Okay. I really can think well at night before bed, and I take the time to do, I like to start my day with a little meditation, but also start my day with just mindless paperwork. So I'll pay some bills, whatever, get into the whole mode. Get my mind a little going, and then I'll sit down and try to be focused. But I know I'm all over the place. So work in short bursts. Put in a good hour. Or just get that project started. Give me 20 minutes, and then that turns into an hour. But you sit there like, oh, that thing, I don't want to touch that thing. That, that big hairy monster. Put in 20 minutes and say that's going to be good. And invariably, doing a little more, you stick with it. You might find yourself doing it for 2 hours or whatever. But you got to overcome your laziness, your fear, and it's on you. No boss is telling you you're going to get fired if you don't do this. Right. Your wife may be telling you, get the program. But that's for me, one of the hardest parts of entrepreneurship. And you try to focus on what's this one big thing today, okay? Because it's very easy and satisfying to get caught up in little nonsense stuff that isn't going to really take you there. It's that painful, I got to make that call, or I got to go attack that investor, or I got to rewrite that pitch deck. What's that one thing you can do today? There's a great book, I think it's by Peter Thiel, The One Thing. It's like, until you finish that, then move on to the next thing. Because we all get caught up in minutia, little stuff. It's a little satisfying because I can check it off my to-do list, but it didn't move the business further.
Wow. Okay. Give me another like cornerstone of your routine that keeps you on the way.
Well, meditation quiets my mind a little bit, helps me focus on what I'm doing. So I meditate about 20 minutes first thing in the morning. A lot of ex-military have PTSD. They're working with these people. They're teaching it in schools now. It has become, and I'm fascinated by the brain. Always have it. So they literally have graphs where it slows the brain waves and the like, because I'm a Mexican jumping bean in my head and I'm all over the place, and it helps me just stay focused and stuff.
Stay present.
Stay present, stay focused.
A lot of athletes do that. I train for free throws.
Yeah.
They you see all the
cut out all the noise.
And they're focused on ball and basketball. Like you see a lot of, and the reason I'm asking this is once again I transitioned to sports. You see some of the especially in baseball, very, very routine. I got to eat this at this time. I got to wear this. Even my son's getting to the point we were just talking about how he has to have his oatmeal, he has to have his eggs, he has to go at a certain time, and it becomes so repetitive that if it's out of whack, you're like your whole aura.
That's the whole apple cart, yeah.
So it has that always. Like those cornerstones of your habit, have they always been like that, or are you always? Oh, I got it. This
now I'm not only up here. I'm jumpy like throughout physically too.
Right.
So those routines, and now there's The Power of Habit was a huge bestseller. You know it, but good habits yield good results and a structure in your life that allows you to better understand how you do what and well, and what time of day you might do that.
Right.
Some people it's like, hey, don't even talk to me before coffee, or like once I've been fed, then I can settle down.
Right.
Once I do my exercise, I mean, everything I do in my life is trying to settle down the noise. I do a lot of yoga, things like that to just settle it down. But getting in a habit of that, like I've realized, exercise early in the morning, then your whole day is a little better.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Then I can focus better on my work and the like. But it's still, I have to have flexibility because today I have to get to the facility and fix this with the software guy who's going to be there at 11. So it's a structure, but that has to be with some flexibility.
Number one struggle that you're having right now.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We love our technology, but until somebody pays for it, it's an uphill battle. And now talk to all the investors, and I have to go outside my comfort zone. I'm not one that likes to impose upon anybody. But for the sake of my investors, I have to step outside my comfort zone and talk to anybody and everybody who might be an investor or a connection to an investor, or some kind of catalyst in the equation that can help us get to the promised land.
Perfect. Number one thing that you're grateful for as of right now.
My family. That's not entrepreneurial. But
it is absolutely.
But yeah, I really enjoyed my career in advertising. I think I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be healthy. Grateful to live in California.
Favorite book?
Confederacy of Dunces.
Why? Just curious.
It's funny as hell, and I love this story. What happened was, and this is a little entrepreneurial. There was a writer in Maine who lived with his mother, wrote this manuscript on like a little bit on paper, a little bit on Eskimo pie wrappers, a little bit of whatever, and committed suicide before the book was ever published.
Wow.
So his mother knew that there was another big author in that Maine area, and she sent him the book a couple times, and she was super resilient.
Okay.
She wouldn't stop. So finally she bugged this guy, and then finally the guy said, listen, I can read the first 3 pages of any book and know whether it's good or garbage, right? So he said, I read the first 3 pages, I read the first 30 pages, I read 300 pages, I read the book over again. What a loss that John Kennedy O'Toole saw fit to kill himself before, because artists tend to be like very insecure and whatever else, and he thought he wasn't good enough, wrote this brilliant book that won a Pulitzer Prize ultimately, and now they're supposed to be making it into a movie like 30 years later. But just what a shame that we don't have him to enrich our lives with more of his immense talent. So that book, it's very, very funny. It just struck me, but I was struck by that story too, which you read in the preface before you read the book.
Anything particular that you want to give, that you want to, like, key points of?
Yeah, don't be fooled to think this is easy. It's riddled with challenges. You got to love your product and talk to people to understand, am I insane here, or is there some that talk to all kinds of people. People you trust, people you like, people you don't like, people in the industry, people whatever, without maybe giving away your idea. But get a little feedback first to understand that there's some, because it's easy to fall in love with your idea, but to check yourself, and then keep the faith, because you're not going to make this mission unless if it's just about, I'm going to get paid at the end of it, you're probably not going to make it. Unless that drive is so super strong, but it's got to be, you believe you're doing something for either mankind or a sport, or you're making a contribution of some kind, or you think this is tremendous fun, or you think it'll benefit humanity or something, but your mission has to be well stated and well realized, and you have to believe in it.
Thank you. I really appreciate
My
it.
pleasure, Brian. Always.
I hopefully maybe you do it. Maybe you can see like the progression.
We'll do part B in 6 months when I'm rolling up in my Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
So now you can talk. Now here's an entrepreneur who made it.
Yeah, most definitely.
It ain't gonna be 6 months. You're gonna have to give me more like 6 years.
You never know.